Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DeCharis, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from where am I now? I'm in downtown Levittown, New York. I've been moving around the last 9 or 10 months. Always an upgrade. You could see I have my Folgers. We have a new sponsor. We have the Folgers Coffee company sponsoring us now, and this goes out to my friend Tom Orinato because he loves when I do this. Okay, so that's for you, Tom, especially for you. And tonight we have a special guest, Jennifer. What's your last name, Jennifer? Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer Loehding. Loehding. Okay, so I explained to her it's my job to do as little research as possible because I don't have enough time. But if my team has brought her here, it's because she's definitely worthy. She told me she's been here before. I honestly don't remember. I have very little memory too. I try to focus on the present moment, and plus I'm getting older, so don't hold that against me. So Jennifer is a beautiful woman. Uh, she's she's below me right now, shuffling her pay. Are you ready, Jennifer? I don't even know if you can hear me, but I did tell her I was going to make fun of her because that's what I like to do. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, Joe. How are you? Just as you were like, what's her last name? My whole thing toppled behind me. My papers were behind.
Well, I did warn you that I was going to make fun of you because that's what I do. I only make fun of people that I just met or I like a lot. So
it's all good. I was hoping you could see me doing all that shuffling. I'm like, where'd my papers go?
I should have brought you on while you were shuffling them. That would have been really good.
Hey, just show all human.
Let me raise my volume here so I could hear you better.
Oh, good.
Okay, so you know a little bit about me as far as I'm a CPA extraordinaire. I don't know too much about you other than that you're a certified coach, and so you'll have to explain that because there's a lot of certified coaches. You must be certified in something.
Yeah.
So we'll find out about that. But more importantly, you have some kind of like 3-step or 10-step program. And I love steps. I love when you can like check off, I did step 1, step 2. And so what are you certified in?
Well, I'm certified in a lot of things in life, but I'm certified with the Brave Thinking Institute, their Life Mastery, but the Brave Thinking Institute. But that all really, came about because of my journey and where I've been. My previous background, I was in the network marketing space, 23 years in that industry, was in the top 2% of a global cosmetic company, led teams. And life happened and I was diagnosed with a rare nerve condition in 2012. And that sort of just sent me down a different path. And so I tell people my background is in business. That's where I've been for many, many years. But then when life happened, I went on what I call, I hate to say sabbatical because I was still working, but I went on this whole life journey. And in that process, that's when I was introduced to this, what I do now. And I did that at the time that I did it because I wanted to get better at communicating with my team. I wanted to be a better human and I wanted to solve my own problems so that I could work with them. I didn't know that I was going to be interested in moving away from that and helping other individuals. And so that's where we are today with that whole thing. But it's been instrumental in my success. And I've used it, over and over in both business and in personal life. And it's a skill set that has really just helped me. We're all dream builders. I think we're all dream builders. The problem is that we are missing steps a lot of times along the way. And when you can put those pieces together, that's when you can create massive success.
Oh, that's for sure. I could talk to you about my own entrepreneurial endeavors. And it wasn't until this business, Bedrock Business Builders, where I learned that I really didn't know too much. I'm really good at a couple of things. So I surround myself, and you've met, some of my team members. But tell me, because you piqued my interest now about, you've always been an entrepreneur. Can you explain that? Did you own a lemonade stand or drive an ice cream like I did?
I did, kind of, maybe not a lemonade stand, but my parents were both entrepreneurs. So I grew up in a household. My mom was actually a bookkeeper back in the 80s and had a tax service and a executive, back when they did executive suite. She had an office and she would do typing and bookkeeping. And I used to answer the phones for my mom. And so from, a child, I talk about this. We used to mow yards. We would do yard mowing and we would make crafts. If there was a way to make money, like I was on that board. And so I've always kind of had that, I hate to say the word hustler mentality, but that's kind of the way I am. I go after opportunities and if there's something there, I love ideas. I love hearing what people are doing and cheering them on to success and seeing greatness. So to answer that question, yes.
Okay, cool. You sound like you could have been my girlfriend when I was like 8 years old. But yeah, I love hearing people's stories. But you're definitely right. I believe entrepreneurs are dreamers. We're also a little bit crazy, maybe a lot, because we think of things and do things that nobody else is willing or able to do. We take chances. And a lot of times it's just like you said, we're missing steps.
Mm-hmm.
I think every entrepreneur is missing steps. I don't care if you're Elon Musk or Joe DiChiara.
Right.
There's always something. We make mistakes. So you claim to have overcome that.
I'm not perfect. I'm not
Okay.
perfect.
I'm glad about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's 100% of people not being perfect. But so I believe, I'm a guide. I teach people. I happen to do bookkeeping and accounting, but really my calling, my passion is teaching people and filling in those missing parts. Okay. So how do you go about doing it?
Well, it's, I think everybody's different. What I do know, and you hit on some really good points about, we do things that other people are not willing to do. And I think, and a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs. I've worked with various people, in the health and wellness, and then of course in the business sector, but most of the people that I'm working with right now are entrepreneurs. They happen to be a lot of females because that's just who gravitates my way. But what we know is that, our dreams and goals are birthed out of our frustrations. They come out of either our longing or our discontent for change, right? And so that process looks very different. But what I will tell you is that, when the pieces are all put together in the puzzle, like you said, there are 4 domains in our life that we work at. And typically, like when somebody's coming to us, there's like one domain that's out of place. And when we can put those pieces together, what they find is that the very domain that they may be coming to me for, which may be in the career, that they start making all the other pieces in the other areas of their life flow more freely. So the pieces are universal. They go together for everybody, but the way that they come to me is often different. And the way that we go about it and implementing it may be a little bit different for each person, if that makes sense.
Okay. Oh yeah, it makes sense. So you said one thing, but I want to circle back to that. What are the 4 pieces?
This is good. Yes, I'm glad you asked me that. So if I had a little PowerPoint, I'd pull it across for you. But what I tell people is if you just make like a perpendicular line on your paper, you've got these 4 boxes, right? One domain is your health and your well-being space. Okay. One domain is your vocation, which is your career. The other one's going to be your love, relationships, any part of that, and then your time and money freedom. So if we're talking about these entrepreneurs, often they're coming to me because they want to scale their business. They want to grow their business, right? But what we know is that how you show up in one area of your life is how you show up in all the areas of your life. And so these limiting beliefs, paradigms, they manifest in very different ways, but they will show up in each area of your life. And so we have to find them, right? So the key here is that we want to apply this skill set, right, which is at the core. And then what happens is when we notice the things that we want to improve, we're going to start seeing this flow a little more freely in all of these domains.
That's really interesting. So you're saying, yeah, I believe you pretty much covered the gamut. So you're saying people come to you they have, okay, I don't want to get into that yet because it's really interesting, but they're lacking in one of those four areas, is what you're saying. And they don't realize it, do they?
Well, they do sometimes. Like I said, if they come to me and most of the time it's like, if it's an entrepreneur, it may be there's this little bit of longing that they want better. Like most of us, we want more, right? Like we want more out of life. So they'll come to me and they just know there's this piece maybe in their business it's missing, and they want either more growth, they want more balance. They use the word balance. I don't like the word balance. I say harmony. But a lot of times, even with women, it's I want to have more, but I need this harmony over here. So they may know one area that they want to improve upon, but as we're going through this, other stuff will start to surface. It'll come up, and it may be, oh, I never really thought about that. I want more money because it's really, I just wanted to be happy at doing what I'm doing, right? So it'll come up, but they know a lot of times one piece of something.
Yeah, that's I believe that because I have two coaches. One is let's say she's a life coach. She says her thing is getting what you want, and actually it's getting what you want from your man. So she focuses on. So I hired her as a coach, and because I said, it's not really about, men, it's about relationships, right? And she said, yes. So I said, I want help with my relationships. And she tricked me. She tricked me because it actually became the relationship I have with myself. Okay. And she said, you're attracting these people in your life because of the relation. She said, you're attracting them. Right. And it wasn't just women. It was, I was hiring the wrong people. I was doing business. I was getting the wrong clients. And I was like, oh my God, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. So, and then I have another coach, Larry Broughton. He's a former Green Beret Special Ops, started from scratch. He was a night auditor at a hotel. At a Fleabag motel. Wow. Okay, the people that stayed there were prostitutes and drug addicts. Okay, wow. And he wound up being a partner, and somebody else came in, bought the place, they turned it around, and they wanted to keep him because they saw something. He wound up with a $256 million hotel empire. So I said, okay, I want this guy's a Green Beret. He's going to shape me up. And he started asking me about my relationship to God, with my family. And I was like, when are you going to start like being a Green Beret? And it was like, so I started calling him Dr. Larry because it was all about my health. I was like, I thought you were going to work on my business. But both times it was like they came from different areas than what I expected. And they gave me exactly what I wanted and needed. But I didn't know I thought I needed something else.
Right.
Does that sound?
Yeah.
But you said something that really got me interested. And I don't know if you know what you said, but you said we go into things out of frustration. Mm-hmm. Can you explain that? Because I never heard that said before.
Yeah, well, I can use my story and I can tell you where I was coming from and why I am where I am. So when I was diagnosed with my nerve condition in 2012, little did I know that I would go through a different diagnosis, but a similar episode. I spent 4 years going between doctors and dentists and neurologists and specialists, pain specialists. Nobody really knew what to do with me. And I became it's a very debilitating disease. It's called a suicide disease because it's extremely painful. And so imagine that I'm going through this pain, but also the frustration of not having answers. And so that for me became a real eye opener for me after 4 years of going through that and realizing this was going to be my life. My kids were at the time 16, 12, and 8. This was going to be my life. And also not wanting to be a victim of this and really coming to terms with the idea that I was no longer going to succumb to this. And so I became proactive in healing myself. And I did a bunch of holistic things. I became a marathon runner. I did the ketogenic diet for 22 months, was able to successfully get off all my medication, put that nerve pain into remission. I still to this day take no medication for that nerve condition.
Wow.
So that was a true discontent with the pain that I was going through. But also when I came out of that condition, I also, having been in the network marketing space and helping people for a very long time, knew that I had touched upon something. I had gone through something like massive in my life, and it had changed me. It had made me different. And so I had a longing to want to be able to take what I had learned and pour that back into people in a different way. And I knew that what I was doing, I enjoyed the company, what they stood for, but that wasn't my calling. That particular, I didn't want to be tied to that product. I wanted to have a bigger purpose. And so you've got these two things of this discontent with the current situation that I was in, right? I wanted to get out of that pain and get out of it, but also this longing that I knew I had something to give back to people and wanting more. So those things that come about, I would say it's kind of almost like when you get pinned against the wall, like when you get in the desperation mode of, oh my gosh, I don't have something, I've got to fix it, right? Or you get to that place where you just know there's something more, a calling that you should be doing. And
that's where we get our drive from. We're like, there's an injustice, there's something wrong, or there's, something missing from this product. If you just tweak this, and that's when people look at us cross-eyed because they're like, you're crazy.
Right.
And then we, look at Thomas. I bring this up all the time, the light bulb. The guy spent years doing, and most people would give up, but he was really nuts. Yeah. I mean, I think he had OCD or something. And I've been listening to, a lot of podcasts and short, like documentaries, and Elon Musk has one when he talked about SpaceX. And it was just like, he just had to do it. It almost made him broke. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, it was, well, now he's, the richest man in the world, they say. But that can go back and forth. But people don't realize that, that the pain and suffering somebody like him goes through, because he's got, dreams and ambitions. I used to wonder what made people like Bill Gates get up in the morning. I'm like, the guy's got billions of dollars, but it's always something. Now he's a philanthropist, right? Mm-hmm. He's doing this thing, believe it or not, with toilet bowls. Yeah, because he sees in other countries there's a lot of disease because they don't have sanitary conditions. So it's all about, it's really about water and stuff. But that's a whole nother thing. Really, what you hit upon is the passion that people feel, because that's why I feel like I'm driven. I never knew. I didn't like being an accountant for a long time because I didn't know how I could help people with that. But it's come, full circle, a lot of pain and trials and tribulations. But that's great that you hit upon that. I'm going to use that a lot, if you don't mind. I'm going to borrow it from you.
Well, and you said something earlier, Joe, about when you were talking about your coaches, about how, you came to them. And one of the things that, I always talk about is like this results formula, that our thoughts really become our results, what we're thinking. And if you think about it, because thoughts cause feelings, right? And when we are joyful, we feel happy. When we're scared, our heart beats faster. It's like a physiological thing, right? And then by universal law, our feelings produce our actions, right? And then our actions actually produce our results. And so if you want to know what you're thinking, just look at your results, because they never lie.
You can work with that.
That's why when they come in for one thing and you think, oh, well, I came in for this. And when I was talking earlier about them manifesting in very different ways, it's like, for instance, if in my personal life, for a long time, I had a really tough time putting the relationship together, self-worth with the money. So where was that showing up? Like I was having a hard time asking for what I was charging, like taking the money. But then also it was coming into my personal life. It was playing out and manifesting in ways there. So they come up in very different ways, but it's really that thinking that is deriving all these results in all these domains that we're talking about.
Yes. It's funny how it always goes back to, and then you find out your thinking was started being planted when we were very, very young,
Yes.
and you got to take control of that.
Absolutely.
So do people come to you? I would think they come to you in all different ways. Do they get referred to you, or do you do podcasts like this?
I have a podcast, Behind the Dreamers. We just actually rebranded in January. So we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. It's basically dreamers, people that are athletes, entrepreneurs, musicians, people that have some kind of vision. But I'm also in communities too, and I do a lot of networking. And so I'm always, I'm very particular about, because obviously our time is limited, right? We have limited amount of time. So I do workshops. I do those where I will actually work through this program, give an introduction, but then I also work one-on-one with these clients and work them through that process. And I've got a couple clients right now that we're actually going through that whole dream builder, and it's a 12-week deal. It's not complicated, but it's a process that they work through. And the idea is hopefully when they get to the end of that, they know that skill set, and then they can just pick it back up at any point in time and use it again.
So it could be anybody. You mentioned entrepreneurs. I mean, people with careers. How about moms?
Anybody. Yeah. This
Moms don't get enough credit. It's like, I look at them like, sometimes I thank God that I was born a man. I'm like, I couldn't. But, I see my daughter now, raising my granddaughter, and I'm like, oh, now you know how hard it was.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. But I could see how, moms get, they could use a coach.
Mm-hmm.
How about that for an idea?
Absolutely. Well, and I was a mom. I was a stay-at-home mom running a business. I wasn't, just the mom who didn't have, I've always had a side gig, but yes, definitely. And, and to touch on that with coaches, because I feel like, there's this idea, and I know this from talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, they really don't understand the value of having a coach or a mentor. Joe, I will tell you the most exciting thing for me is when I get on a call with a client, and it's just happened today, and they screen share with me because they're tracking their numbers, whether it be they're looking at their growth on Facebook or their AWeber or whatever it is, but they share that with me, and we see this pattern of growth going up. And it's not because I'm giving them the answers that they need. They're finding their own answers. All I'm doing is facilitating. I'm guiding them across the line. I'm helping them with ideas, but they're doing the work. They're out there coming back to me with these ideas, asking me for input. I love seeing that growth. But the thing is, I think everybody can benefit in some way from having a coach or a mentor, because sometimes, it may be simple. It may be somebody looking to, I don't know, they want to run a marathon. I mean, I've done 4 or 5 of those. Maybe that's their thing. Or maybe it's just they're trying to find that harmony in their lives. They're juggling kids at home, and they're really just trying to find that, hey, how do I get okay with me as a mom and have that peace and know that I'm doing the best I can, but be okay with taking time for myself, walking away from that. So I feel like, yes, everybody can benefit. I've had mentors for 23 years. I mean, I'm working with an accelerator right now. Coaches have coaches. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in them 100%.
Yeah. Listen, coaching, I think, started becoming popular like about 20 years ago, because it used to only be, athletes had coaches. Well, think about that. You got the world's greatest athletes, telling them, somebody's telling them how to hit a ball.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the coaches are people that were never really successful in what they're coaching you in, but they could see something. And, another thing that Susan helped me with was, we have a growing team, and, we want to teach each other. It's the transfer of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm showing our team members, this is how you do bookkeeping. This is our system. And so now it goes, we're like 3 levels deep. So I'm not directly teaching the new people. And what Susan said is, who's coaching this one? Who's coaching? And I never looked at it like that. It was like, they're teaching. No, she's like, no, they're coaching. And a lot of times, because I see this from the ones that I coach, a lot of times they're doing things right and they don't realize it.
Yeah.
Right. And they need that encouragement, saying, listen, you're really good at this. And people don't realize that. Do you find that?
Yeah. And there's definitely even a difference between a consultant and a coach. And I have to have these conversations with clients sometimes, because sometimes they come to you and they're like, like, I want this, show me how to do this. And I'm more interested in you as an individual. I'm more interested in helping you be the best leader that you can be in your industry, within your organization, and in your social community. So I'm looking at a broader picture when I'm working with people. And I say, I even had to look up the definition the other day. What's the definition of like a business coach and an entrepreneur coach? And like, when you look at the difference, really an entrepreneur coach, which is what I do mostly, is really interested in the leader. I'm interested in making you whole and complete, because how you show up in your business is exactly how you're going to go home and show up to your family. It's how you're going to show up in your social situations. Your finances are going to reflect it, and your health and your wellness is going to reflect it. So it's different. And consultants are really, they need a place too. They're there to guide you. If you want somebody to say, hey, tell me how to scale this business, that's what they can tell you to do. They can go straight in and tell you, this is the steps you need to take. But I'm interested in letting you solve your problems, because I think there's ownership when you take that on yourself and say, I solved this. You guided me along that way.
Yeah. One thing, you're talking my language. One thing Larry said to me that sticks out, he said, if you become a better man, you'll become a better entrepreneur. It's like, oh, I thought it was all about the numbers. Yeah. So, yeah, we talk for a while. I like to keep these short because people's attention span, as you know, are I don't think, there's very few things I watch that are, 20 minutes or longer. So I'm just as bad. But let's talk about this system that you have. Can you explain that? How many steps are there and how does it work?
So it's called, as I mentioned earlier, it's called the Dream Builders Program. It was designed by Mary Morrissey. If you're familiar with her, she had same mentor as Les Brown and Dwayne Dyer. If you're familiar with those two people, same mentor.
Oh, yeah.
She's been on PBS, world-renowned leader. And like I mentioned earlier, it's a skill set. It's a 10-step program that walks you through. And, we do these vision workshops where we go out and introduce, and we'll introduce 3 steps to them to give them something, because we want to give you something to walk away with. I'm a meat and potato girl. I don't want you to come in and I'm just going to rah cheerleader you. I want to give you something to walk away with so you can go home and do something. I mean, that's how I operate. So it is 10 steps, and we do give you 3 when you go in there. But like I said, it's just a puzzle piece that comes together. And when you do it over and over, it can be applied, like I said, to any aspect of your life. If you want to fix a relationship, pull it out. You can do it. Go back through it. It's going to help you. And the more you work through it, I think the better you become at it. You start noticing what you're noticing. And I think even so much to the fact that you will become aware when things aren't going well in your life at a particular time, whether it's your health or a relationship or something. You'll come back and go, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to be doing? Let me go back to the beginning, and you'll work your way through that.
Okay, so in my business, we have like points. Like if somebody's just starting a business, that's my avatar. If somebody gets an audit, I'm like, okay, call us. What triggers somebody to contact you? What is something going on, or they just say, I hit a brick wall.
It could be any of those really, but like a lot of my stuff is done through referrals. So when I meet people, I kind of probe and ask questions. That's really how I do it, because again, I think everybody can use a coach. So if I get to listen long enough, I'll find something. Like I had somebody the other day that told me they didn't need a coach, and then they said they needed to take care of something before they contacted me. And I said, that's why you need the coach. So you see what I'm saying? Because if they're not moving, they're stalling, and there's a reason they're procrastinating. There's some blockage up there that's saying you got to have the green lights before you can move to the next step. Now, granted, we know timing is important, but a lot of us, that's what we're looking for, is that green light, right? So yeah, most of them that are contacting me, like I said, are probably coming from the angle that there's something in their business they want to fix. There's something from that angle. But I have worked with people that are in a space where, you know, they want better health or something there they're not wanting to fix, or maybe something's not going right in their relationship and they want to have a better, you know, like communication skills or whatever. So it's really like when they contact me, I sit down, I do a free strategy session, and I do that for two reasons, because I feel like it's a two-way interview. I want to make sure that they are fit for what I'm looking for. Like, I don't want to take on somebody I can't help, but at the same time, they need to be interviewing me because they need to make sure that my style, I'm not for everyone, obviously, right? And they need to make sure that my style fits with their needs, because I'm going to hold them accountable to their decisions and their choices. I'm not going to, you know, parent or be like, hey, why'd you not do that? But I'm going to walk. I want you to cross that finish line. I want to see you win. And so my objective is to do what we need to do to get you to that finish line.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Who refers people to you?
Business owners. They have somebody, some of them are coaches. Like, they may be somebody that's working with somebody and they go, you go.
You need to talk to Jennifer.
Yeah, you need to talk to Jennifer about that. Some of them, like I said, I network a lot. So sometimes I meet people when I'm out and about, and a conversation may come up and somebody will be like, hey, I'm looking for somebody that can help me with that kind of conversation.
Right. I got you. So Jennifer, this has been enlightening. I love your approach. I appreciate your story. Sometimes things happen to us that we don't want to happen, but it turns out to be a blessing, or we just turn it into a blessing.
Absolutely.
So I love the fact that you did this. You know, I was just watching a movie yesterday, and Dr. Joseph Daspienza. I don't know if he was on The Secret, but he keeps popping up for some reason. And he was talking about this accident. He got hit by a car when he was on a bicycle. And they told him that if he didn't have this operation, he might not ever walk again. And he's like with the mind, he's like a brain scientist. And he was talking, some of the things you said were like just what he said. He's like, I just changed my mindset. I just visualized myself walking, and within 12 weeks, he was back on the bike. Wow. And I was like, oh my God, they went from, you can't. So don't believe everything you hear.
Mm-hmm. Mind is a powerful thing, Joe. And I always say, if you think you're going to get sick, you're going to get sick, And so it's funny how, people will talk about luck and, good and bad. And there really is no luck. It goes back to that. Your thinking produces those results, because it's all that stuff in the middle that's starting. Everything is a thought before it becomes an action.
Yes. You see these people, you figure, hey, everything he does, he's successful. And it's not an accident, right?
No. He's doing
I'm sorry.
He's doing the work. He's thinking and he's doing the work.
Yes, I believe that. So how do people get in touch with you?
Easy enough. If you go to Jennifer Loehding, I did not put my last name on there. I was trying to hurry up and type. But it's L-O-E.
I'll do it now.
L-O-E-H is in Harry, D is in dog.
Hold on. I'm spelling Jennifer
okay.
first. I'm cheating because I'm looking at Jennifer. Go ahead.
L-O-E, H is in Harry, D is in dog, I-N-G. So Loehding.
Oh, it's that H is a killer.
Yeah, it's German. Yeah, if you go to jenniferloehding.com, everything is connected to that page. So you can find out.
Okay, so that's what we want, Jennifer. Because the good thing about this platform is it lasts forever. There we go. Oh, I did that. It's jenniferloehding.com. I thought somebody was okay, so I didn't get it perfect, but people will get the idea. Hopefully that you never know. I get some traction off of this, but it's what I love about this. I'll give you a secret. We find people that can help us, right, if that makes sense. And we're like, okay, we'll interview this person. Yeah. And so there's always a benefit. So if you didn't help anybody else, you helped me today, and I'm going to help my team and anybody else that I talk to, and maybe we'll get to refer some people to you.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm glad that you guys had me on, and listen, I like helping people. So if it, the message goes out there, and if somebody hears it and it changes something in their life, the world's a better place. That's how I feel it. So we all,
Yes.
we all benefit when we're healthy. That's my theory, is if I can help you be healthy, we all win.
Yes. It doesn't just help you, it helps the world.
Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you, Jennifer. Don't leave. I'm going to end the broadcast. Most people just leave and then I don't get a chance to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. That's our story. We're sticking with it. God bless, and we will see you again